Welcome. This is for September 28th, and for this year going through the narrative lectionary, we're out of the book of Genesis and we are into the book of Exodus. Particularly today we're in, parts of chapter 2, 3, and 4. This section here, let me start it this way. You see, Moses is the patron saint of every reluctant and nervous and unqualified person who ever resisted a call to ministry. And while it's typical for those whom God calls into Scripture to protest, at least once before they agree to serve, Moses' protests seem endless. Moses says that he's too insignificant to speak to Pharaoh, that he doesn't know enough, that he's a terrible public speaker. Then after he runs through his list of reasons, Moses still just begs, please send someone else, God. And it's perhaps understandable why God would get a little bit frustrated with Moses there in chapter 14 or 4. And while it's no doubt to be a comfort for any anxious Christian to know that they're not the first person to feel underqualified or under-equipped to answer God's call, perhaps what's most encouraging for us in this text is that are the reassurances that God himself gives. To Moses' objections that he's unqualified, that he's actually an unqualified nobody is what Moses says, but God reassures him that what matters most is that I will be with you and God will see it through. The protest that he doesn't know God well enough, then God gives Moses God's own name, I am. Because God is the one who is there for Moses. To Moses saying that he isn't eloquent enough. So God determines to teach Moses what to say. Moses still begs not to go, so God assures him that he won't minister alone. For every potential problem and anxious shortcoming and logical reason that Moses has not to answer God's call, God gives Moses the reassurance of knowing that he can. And not because of who Moses is, but because of who God is. In the end, that is the hope and the confidence of every believer who hears God's call to serve and to feed and to teach and to heal, to minister. And it helps us hold on. And we do this ministry of Jesus Christ not because of who we are, but because of who God is and because, God goes with us. So blessings on your ministry this week. What you do matters, and I'm so grateful for you.
In Christ we aspire to journey with one another in grace, in faith.